Good day from the sunny and majestic Debet village in the lower region of Armenia. If you're new here, I'm Nana Vardanian from the communications team at COAF. Welcome to DebeTalks, and make sure to subscribe to COAF's podcast channel called Outlook on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Deezer. DebeTalks is one of our series dedicated to COAF's Smart Debet initiative, our new rural development model that aspires to foster community development in Debet through infrastructure improvement, economic programs, and capacity building. We've previously talked about different programs of Smart Debet initiative itself, as well as the way COAF is enhancing the villagers' skill set to help them take ownership of all the wonderful transformations happening in their community and take them to the next level. And today we'll be talking about one of the most priority and impactful projects happening in Debet, the housing for families that have been displaced from Artsakh and lost their homes and belongings as a result of the recent war in Artsakh. I'll be having the pleasure to talk to COAF's Managing Director Korioun Khatchadourian, who, believe me, is a big fan of Debet. Hi Korioun, 2 months following our previous talk, welcome to another DebeTalks.
It's my pleasure, Nane, and go Debet.
Let's first talk about this. What efforts has COAF made to support the people of Artsakh affected by the war since the very beginning?
It's been 5 months since the end of the Artsakh war. Tens of thousands of people abandoned their homes and belongings to survive. A majority still remain deprived and without a place to call home. This new reality, Nane, is simply unacceptable for us. So, emergency aid such as food, household essentials, school supplies, and clothing have already been distributed to 150 families who have had to relocate to all over rural Armenia in our COAF beneficiary communities. Our program was supported by organizations such as the EU, French, and Lithuanian embassies, as well as private donors. This program is now being extended to additional families thanks to the effective cost savings our distribution team has achieved. The emergency aid we provided is now going beyond tangible goods. It also includes access to mental health support and counseling, including PTSD, grief, and speech therapies. Our counselors provide assessment of every family upon distributing their aid package. And if we talk numbers, at this moment, Nane, 11% of all the Artsakhis receiving aid from COAF are also utilizing our mental health support services. Leveraging our established network in the communities of Lori, we are now securing housing solutions for displaced families. A number of existing houses in Artsakh and Debet in the Lori region have been selected for the initial project locations based on their structural integrity and housing capacity. Better capacity equals more families rehoused. The sizable properties will also allow us to build more houses on site. So we're going beyond the humanitarian aspect, and we're now working very hard to deliver dignified housing solutions for these displaced families.
How big is the project in terms of the number of families that will have their housing problem solved, and what's our timeline here?
Phase 1 of our housing project includes 14 units located both in Debet and Artsakh communities. 14 units means 14 large families with children relocated to these two communities. And we're doing this 14 units in a record time. We started end of February, and we're going to be delivering in mid-April, max 1st of May.
Is COAF building new houses or renovating existing ones?
Excellent question, Nane. We are doing both. It's a mix, or I would say a hybrid model that we've chosen. So both in Artsakh and Debet, these are typical villages of rural Armenia. There are a lot of abandoned houses. What we did is we went with a hybrid model where we bought some houses, abandoned houses, and we're renovating them. Namely here 2 houses, one in Debet and one in Artsakh. The rest are modular houses that we can quickly assemble and using new technologies. We are working with local Armenian companies, and so far so good, I have to say.
Korioun, and how do you choose the house locations and the families that are going to live there?
Armenia, Lori Mars, Debe, the Serh communities were chosen for this first phase, considering that the region is is the closest to Artsakh in terms of nature. And obviously, we chose Debet and Deser because they're our COAF beneficiary communities. We're working very closely with them. We know the inhabitants. We have built very good relationships with the local authorities. So it was very logical to start with our housing project in the Lori region. As for the families that are going to be selected, we have gone through a very thorough assessment as to their needs, their wishes, and their capacities as well, because let's not forget that once they relocate, they need to integrate into the community and start generating some revenues and working. So there's been a great amount of work done by our social workers, our own in-house social workers throughout Armenia, doing assessments, interviews, so that we can identify and make sure that these houses will be inhabited very soon.
Who's involved in this project and who you collaborate with?
We collaborate very closely with 4 construction companies. All of them are Armenia-based. Even one is from Debet. We're very happy with the progress. So far, so good. In terms of impact, it's been quite tremendous, I have to say. It's been quite hectic, but also tremendously impactful as an infrastructure project. More than 220 people have become direct and indirect beneficiaries of our housing projects in Deser and Debet. The past 60 days of housing and other construction projects have resulted in substantial investment in the local economy, creating jobs, skills, and income. You won't believe, Nane, but everybody in Debet has a job now. Nobody's thinking of migrating, and you won't see anybody playing, I would say, in the center of the village. That's a very common scene in Armenian villages where people gather and all day long they would just play. You won't see that anymore, and that's pretty crazy. That's unseen, according to some of the locals. In terms of numbers, I have some interesting numbers also to share with you today. The total budget of this housing project exceeds $700,000 US. Pretty impressive. We're including furnitures, obviously, and all the different expenses. And the average living space for each family, once again, we're talking about 14 first units, is above 90 square meters. So, comfortable housing with new technologies. We're pretty sure every single family will be very happy to move. And these signs of vibrancy in everyday life are more than encouraging, and so tremendous progress from where we were even 3 months ago. We believe integrating displaced Artsakh families into our rural communities will do more than provide homes for the displaced. This initiative will also help revitalize villages by bringing new perspective, talent, and creative abilities to the places in Armenia which need them most. Let me share with you another program of ours that we just launched, so that the return of these families to some sort of normality and self-empowerment is foreseeable. We just launched actually a new program for war veterans. Our Revive Vet program, in partnership with the UNDP and FAST Foundation, will allow for 100 war veterans from the 2016 and 2020 wars to access training across multiple industries. These courses are designed to provide veterans with the necessary training to seek and secure employment. So we started off, if I had to sum up, with a crisis. We're still in this crisis. We launched a humanitarian aid program. by distributing aid packages to hundreds of families across Armenia in our 5 regions. We then realized that's not enough, and therefore we launched a new housing program. The 14 first units will be delivered soon, mid-April, end of April. That's the target we've set. It's a record time. And then we also realized we needed to do something for our veterans. And that's how we launched, in partnership with the UNDP and FAST Foundation, the Revive Vet program that's going to target 100 war veterans. It's a full package. It's our recovery plan. It's not enough yet, I would say, but it's a very good start.
And to conclude our show today, COAF is making an unprecedented investment in DeBet, and many are interested in adding value to the project. How can they get involved and be part of the journey?
There are multiple ways of getting involved with COAF. As you know, what we provide for these families, for their sacrifices they have made, will never amount to what we, as Armenians, owe them. The efforts we go to is to demonstrate that we respect, appreciate, and care about everything that has happened and continues to happen. So this is a call to everybody so that you join us. You can very simply donate on our website, coaf.org. You can also partner with us if you have any interesting expertise, especially in the housing domain. Just join us, join the momentum.
Thank you, Korioun, for another informative DeBet talk.
Thank you, Nane.
Spring is in the air and DeBet is getting more and more gorgeous with the season. If you're looking for an extraterrestrial place for a vacation or a mountain retreat, you're welcome to stay at our Concept Hotel by COAF, which, by the way, is located in DeBet Village right next to our CrossMart Center. Your stay at Concept Hotel will give back to the community, as all the proceeds will fund COAF's programs in rural Armenia. If you enjoy listening to our podcast, you can also subscribe to our channels on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Deezer. With love from DeBet Village. Until next time.